Alright, welcome to my Tien guide for Dragon Ball Fighterz. It's going to be an in-depth guide on Tien and everything I know about him. This is just kind of a big information dump before Strive comes out, because I'm probably not going to play this game after that. So let's get started. We'll start with his normals. His standing light, 5L. Really great button here. It's got pretty good range. It's slightly negative on block, makes it really good for staggers. As you can see here. It's just -3 on this. It's got pretty good range, good for staggers. Good for stealing turns and resetting pressure. The second part of his auto combo, the 5LL, is a multi-hitting move. Fairly regular startup. It's only -4, another really good tool for staggers. Moves Tien forward quite a bit, so it can be good for chasing down backdashes or people trying to move away from you. Then we have the last part of the auto combo, this multi-hitting move here. It's another -4 move, really good for staggers, completely safe. It's not quite as good for resetting pressure as his other normals because it's got such a long animation. The beginning of it is very good to cancel into the command grab because the animation's kind of similar and you can kind of catch your opponent off guard with that. This turns into a nice little mind game where if they're trying to hold up during this, you can catch them with the low to punish them for just trying to hold up every time. So once you've snuck this in a few times, you can really condition your opponent to sit there, or you can condition them to jump, which lets you get, full combos off the auto combo if they try to jump. Another interesting thing about this is if you tag during it, you can actually get a safe switch to another character. So here we're going to have the dummy set to do a wake up 2H. If you do it early enough, it's actually a block string, and you can just back off or go for some kind of mix-up or something. It's a pretty strong tool. A couple characters have this kind of thing with multi-hitting auto combos. Master Roshi's another character that can do this with the second part of his auto combo. His 2L is a low. It's got pretty good range. You can do it twice. Not a whole lot to say about this normal. It's pretty standard. His 5M's really great. It's got a long range, hitting certain characters from the round start position. It's only -4 on block, which is really nice. It's another good stagger tool, allows you to steal turns. And of course, if you get hit with a meeting with Tien, if you don't know, you explode. He can just murder you. Easy 50% there with 1 assist. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. A lot of characters will also have trouble, even though it is negative, if they try to take their turn afterwards. At max distance, it's quite hard to take a turn. We'll have the dummy set here to do a light attack. As you can see, it completely whiffs. So what you can do is you can whiff punish them for that. And again, medium starter. Huge damage opportunities there. Lots and lots of really good damage you can do here. The 2M is almost old Super Saiyan Goku good. It's not safe on block, but it's got fairly good range. It's a low. Again, it's fast. It's a 10 frame. It's got lots of good cancel options. You can cancel into the 5M, cancel into S to make it safe. The 5 heavy. It's got really good reach. It's punishable, but you can cancel into Keyblast to keep it safe. And it's another one of those moves where at max distance, you can really punish people for trying to take their turn back. This actually pushes them back enough that you can really punish them even if they try to hit a medium, because you just have so much reach. Again, this is going to be matchup specific because, characters like Z Broly or Android 21 are probably going to give Tien some trouble here at this range, but a lot of characters can't deal with it very well. And unfortunately, now we have to talk about Tien's worst button, in my opinion, is too heavy. It moves him slightly forward. It doesn't hit above him basically at all. It's got limited reach in just about every aspect. The cancel options are pretty limited. You can do Volleyball Fist, but it completely whiffs even on standing opponents unless they're really large. And you're completely punishable on landing. See, even there with the double jump, you still have quite a bit of landing recovery, 10 frames. It's very easy for people to punish you for that. The medium one sends you up a bit further, so if they get antsy and try to punish you early, you can maybe catch them with a Keyblast or something, but it's a pretty bad idea. Your best cancel option here is to Dodon Ray. There is a small gap here, but it's not big enough for them to down heavy you for it. They'll actually get counter hit here. Dodon Ray is safe on block, so this is your best cancel option here, is to do Dodon Ray. We'll see here that Tien actually has quite a problem with people directly above his head. You can't really do much about it there. This is especially bad if they want to jump above your head and super dash. It's quite difficult for Tien to deal with this, because even if you try to 2H, sometimes it misses. See, if you're a little late there on the... actually completely whiff it and leave yourself completely open to attacks. So be very careful trying to anti-it with this move. His Keyblast is decent. It's fairly quick, goes straight across the screen. You only have access to one of them, and you don't have any sort of ducking Keyblast variant or anything like that. It's only slightly minus on block. Use it kind of like a Bardock Keyblast, where you can bait them into reflecting it, and then you can, or, you know, trying to super dash, and you can hit them with a 5H afterwards. And, you know, get a nice combo from that. It combos into Volleyball Fist, even at kind of a far range like here. Not quite round start, but pretty close. And off of that, you can get assist extensions, full combos, all that kind of stuff. It's used more for combos and pressure than for a real neutral tool. It's a little slow from full screen, and being that it's only one Keyblast, it's pretty easy to deal with. His only other Keyblast button is his Jump Keyblast, and this move is not great. It covers a good angle. You only get one again. It stops your momentum, which can be useful for stalling. But you have 7 frames of landing recovery, which can make it theoretically possible, and even if it's not punished, it's still quite difficult to use. Again, it's used more for combos. You can combo into the EX knee press from it anywhere on the screen, and in the corner you can combo into the light knee press, which gives you a slightly better knockdown situation than the medium volleyball fist ender that you usually do. Then his jump normals. We've got Jump Light, which is a ridiculous button. It has incredible upwards hitbox, as you can see here. It's very good for sniping people out of the air who are above you. This is basically the better answer to people jumping right above your head than trying to 2H them. You can get full combos off of this with assist, or meter. It's multi-hitting, which can be very good for mixing people up on the ground. It does, the first hit is overhead and the rest are not, so that was a universal change they made to characters like him and Gotenks quite a while ago, but something to keep in mind. And make sure when you're doing your air combos to get both hits of the Jump Light to get, you know, the most damage and meter you can from your combos. Don't do this. Just leaving damage on the table. As you can see, that was just shy of 3,000. You can see that's just north of 3,000 there, so I'm leaving your free damage on the table. That's not how you win. His jump medium has in a lot of good horizontal reach. It's really good for cross-ups. Even at very close distances, you can get cross-ups with this character, which is really nice. Not a lot of characters get to do that. As you can see there. Of course, you get full combo here. It's a decent air-to-air option if they're kind of further away, like more like at this distance. You get your little combo there. His jump heavy is pretty normal. Not too much special to say about this this button. It's got decent-ish hitbox. It's a pretty standard move. Nothing special about that, really. Alright, so let's talk about his special moves. We have Volleyball Fist. With 3 versions, the light, medium, and EX. The light version, it's 11 frames, pretty quick. It's a low, travels across the screen, decent distance. It's no Bardock, but you know it'll do in a pinch. You can use this to go under some moves. It's not the best at that, but it does hit low, unlike many other forward-advancing moves like this in the game. It's a good combo starter, or it's a good part of your combo to lead into assists. You do things like this. You get whatever combo you want off of that, basically. Then you have the medium version, which starts up much slower than the light version, but it has a guard point when Tien puts his hands together. This is a frame 4 guard point. If you don't know, there's a lot of moves in this game that have special properties that start up on frame 4. For instance, Yue Goku's flip. That has invincibility, but only from frame 4 onwards. It's not quite as good as that move. You can use it in a pinch after blocked vanish to catch people hitting their fastest button. As you can see there. It's a fairly good reversal. It's pretty safe. Even if they don't go for that, if they try to do an IAD or something like that, they will generally go over you when you do this move. So it's more safe than a lot of the 4-frame reversals that you can do. The EX version isn't a lariat at all, but it's a command grab. It's a bit on the slower side at 24 frames, but, you know, it's better to have than not. And again, you can cancel the startup of your auto combo into it to kind of hide the animation. Makes it a little bit more effective. It's all unrecoverable damage as it's an EX move, so that can be really helpful. And in sparking and limit break, which is generally where Tien is played in the back, you get quite a bit of damage out of this. Then the aerial, you can do volleyball fists in the air, but it just turns into these kind of chops, the slap downs here. They all have different properties. The light version simply knocks down, straight down, and gives a soft knockdown. You can use this for knocking down into assists, like something like this. Something like that. It's going to be assist dependent, but it can be used to extend like that. It's also an overhead, which will have the opponent set to guard all and crouch, but they won't switch their guards, so they will get hit by overheads, but everything else they block. It's kind of hard to hit, but you can do extra overheads with Tien because of these moves. So it can be very useful for getting multiple overheads. You can't combo into super or vanish or anything, but if you only need, you know, this much damage to kill a character, it can be very useful for that. Fairly good damage. The medium version is much slower. This is not something you can combo into except for very special circumstances, but it is how you end a lot of Tien's air combos. So you do something like this. You do down heavy into the medium volleyball fist, and it lets you tack on a little bit extra damage. You get better frame advantage here than just knocking them down normally as well. Unless your hit stun is really high, you generally want to do this. It's the preferred ender for sure. Then the EX version is lightning fast, clocking it in a clean 13 frames. Completely unreactable overhead. This can be really deadly because this gives a sliding knockdown when you hit your opponent with this, which lets you do super. And if you don't know, Tien's supers hurt a lot, so if you... So you get your opponent to get scared of you here. They block the first one, but they don't expect the second overhead. Say if you do something like this, and they don't block that second overhead standing, they can eat close to 30% pretty easily. So the ground version has more than just this startup here. They actually have follow-ups, and the different buttons do different things. So if you hit light, you just pop them straight up. If you hit medium, you pop them up and switch sides. And if you hit EX, you pop them up, and it uses your up smash. It uses this property, where if, for instance, you hit that again and you don't get that same animation, it uses it here. So if I were to do something like this, you'll see I don't get that same animation again. You only get one of those per combo, unless there's some very specific circumstances where you can get similar animations, but it's pretty rare. So then after you've popped them up, you can hit light again, and that knocks them straight down with a slide knockdown. Always make sure to wait for the flash right there at the top, or else you lose damage. You get 756 if you time it right there. And if you do it as quick as possible, you only get 630. So it's another example of free damage being left on the table. The light one knocks them straight down with a soft knockdown. The medium version knocks them at an angle with a soft knockdown. The EX version knocks them straight down with a sliding knockdown, rather. Now, if you do the EX beginning and the EX second part here, you actually land before your opponent hits the ground. So it makes a combo possible to combo afterwards. And this can lead to a ton of damage. For reference sake here, this is with the light starter. That follow-up did over 600 damage off of a light starter for the EX Volleyball Fist. That's about as much damage as a follow-up on Tien's level 3 at max scaling. And with a medium starter, well, the damage really starts to get ridiculous. 650, 836. That's more damage than Tien's own level 1 super. This is another advantage of having a really good stand medium, is you can get easy access to damage like this for... It costs meter, but that's just one of the appeals of Tien, is he's really good at using the meter. He's very efficient at killing you with it. So let's talk a little bit more about the aerial EX. Now, if you do a Tiger Knee, it's a bit slower than the jump-in version at 18 frames, but that's still an unreactable overhead. For reference, Z Broly's light command grab is 17 frames, so this is on par with that. And again, this leads to big damage, as we've seen, but the thing that makes this scary is when Tien is in sparking, because in sparking, you can jump cancel anything on block. You can mix in these lightning-fast overheads that lead to massive damage. Tien's in sparking. You don't want to get hit low with a medium because you die. And then an overhead. Easy hit confirm. He just took 40% for not blocking one mix-up if he has 2.5 bars. And this gets to be even more damage if you have a level 3. Cannot combo off of it otherwise, unfortunately. There's no vanish options available. You can just get super. But being that it's this fast, that seems fair to me. It's easy to hit confirm. You have a lot of time to do your super cancel. You can really make people afraid to block you, which can lead to them holding up or holding straight back, and then you hit them with the crouch medium, and it's party time. They're just going to explode. So, next move we'll talk about is the knee press. It's the Yamcha Leg Breaker here. Classic. Used it one time in the whole show. It's very slightly negative on block, and you keep your air actions. The knee press, it's pretty decent. You keep your air actions. You can air dash. You can double jump. You can super dash. It's okay. The biggest problem I would say with this move is it is 2Hable on all versions. It's very, very easy to call him out for doing these. Unlike Trunks and Super Saiyan Gogeta, who have kind of a similar overhead move, he does not have any versions that are safe from 2Hs. So this is very hard to throw out just by themselves, but if you cover with an assist, it leaves you airborne right next to the opponent, which can be very useful for leading into nasty mix-ups. You can go overhead. You can go low. You can go for the command grab. It can be decent if you have assists to back up Tien, but it's not the strongest part of his offense. This isn't a move I use too terribly much. Its use is a little bit more limited. You can combo into the light knee press in the corner, as long as your hit stun scaling isn't too high. And it's slightly more damage than the medium volleyball fist ender that you generally do. The medium and EX versions of this move give you this kind of ground bounce where you can combo afterwards with an assist. Outside of very specific combos, I haven't found too much use for this, for the medium version specifically, because other than using assists, It's very hard to combo into by itself. The only way I've found is off of stand heavy kick in the corner like this, which, again, without assists is not terribly helpful. You can do something like this, but you need 2 assists to make that work. It's just not a terribly practical move in and of itself. It can be very useful for escaping the corner, as it does bring you to the ground quite quickly, but it's quite bad on whiff. It's got a long animation time, so you really have to use this sparingly to get out of the corner when your opponent's not looking for it. If they're looking for it, they can punish it pretty easily, so do be careful of that. So let's talk about Dodon Ray. It's a pretty standard beam. It's average speed. It's just 1 hit. It's not a multi-hitting beam like many others. It pops them up instead of pushing them away, so you can use this to get assist extensions, which can be pretty useful depending on the range. So you can confirm even for no meter from kind of far away, which is very useful. It can also be done in the air, and if you don't hold a direction after you shoot it, you fall, which can help it cover a bunch of vertical space in addition to the horizontal space it covers. It is very, and you can also hold down to stay where you are. It is very punishable on whiff, however. So if you whiff this move, you have to wait for a very long time before you can do anything. So use this one sparingly, but it can be good to throw in occasionally to help control neutral when you're at this area of the screen here where you don't have a lot of other options. Very useful technique with the Dodon Ray is to Tiger Knee it like this. Helps make the whiff recovery a little better because you're so close to the ground. It's safe on block at any range, which is pretty unique for a beam. It's a good ender for block strings. Pushes them back a little bit. It doesn't have a ton of block stun as an assist, but we'll get to that later. So then the last special move we have is Telekinesis. This is massively plus on block. And on an Okuzeme situation, it will catch all sorts of techs. Set the enemy to up tech here. Really doesn't matter. Whatever tech they choose, unless it's delayed. This basic setup will catch them teching in any way, and if they get hit, you get a full combo, and if not, if they don't get hit and they block it instead, can you imagine blocking in this game? Who does that? You are plus 31, all by yourself. That's just all by your lonesome you can do this. You can do this 2 times, and then the 3rd time you try to do it, you will get a dud, so do be careful of that. You can't use this move if Chaozu is fucking dead. If he blows himself into smithereens, you cannot use this move anymore. It's just gone forever. If you have Chaozu assist, the Telekinesis assist, Tien also loses access to Chaozu. He just comes out and poses a little bit, and he builds you about 10% a meter when he does this version of the assist. The Chaozu assist is plus even on reflect. Very slightly, but it is plus on reflect here. So you can see there he's still plus 10, so even if your opponent reflects this, don't be afraid to get in there and take a turn. You have a pretty good amount of frame advantage to work with. This move also has some limited application in neutral. If your opponent's playing really passively, you can call Chaozu from full screen. This has incredibly good tracking. Can even hit people all the way at the top of the screen. It doesn't matter. If they're just playing really passively and they're up there in the air, it'll allow you to close the distance in and get into a more effective range. So you can play your game more effectively. Alright, let's talk about assists. So, Tien assist. Assist A is Dodon Ray. Pretty great assist. It's got decent bit of block stun. Pretty average startup here for a beam assist. Covers the horizontal space of the screen really well. And the way it pops them up makes it really easy to confirm into full combos. It's very good for assist extensions as well, because of the same property. Really easy to get extra damage out of this. Has very limited block stun, so you have to be careful if you're trying to use it to take a second turn. So you can see here it only has 20 frames of block stun. You can also use the low hit stun on the Dodon Ray to set up command grab mix-ups with combos with characters who have command grab auto combos like UI Goku. Like that. The B assist is Telekinesis. This move has longer startup than the point version and has slightly more frame advantage because you're free to move. The tracking is not quite as good. So it's very easy. It's much easier for opponents who are aware to avoid this when he does it, as you can see there. However, it is very good when combined with our good friend Super Dash. The assist version also builds about 10% meter. Whenever you do it, you get this even if Chiaotzu is dead, which can be very helpful. Over the course of the match, it'll build you a decent bit of meter. And just like the point version, if Chiaotzu is fucking dead, you cannot use this assist anymore. You just get the meter build version, which is pretty bad. One big disadvantage of using this this assist like this. And then last, and most very definitely least, we have his C assist, Volleyball Fist. He comes out, he summons the boys, and he just does a little combo. This has very limited tracking. It's not very good at hitting people out of the air, as you can see there. It has good block stun. It's got 50 frames. But for the record, Chiaotzu has 40 frames, although it does start up a little slower. This assist is just... There's better characters that have these kind of assists. Honestly, I really think you should stick with the A assist or the B assist. So let's talk about supers. He's got a level 1, a level 2, and 2 level 3s. The level 1, we have Kikoho. It's fast. It does massive damage. Other than Kaioken Goku, base Goku by himself, this is the most damaging level 1 in the game. When you're on the ground, it's like base Vegeta's where it auto-adjusts to their height. Does not have this property in the air, however, so be careful of that. As you can see here, it takes a bit of your health to use. It takes about 10%. There's also a level 2 follow-up if you hold the button. If you hold the light and medium buttons, you appear all on the same side. And if you hit the heavy and S buttons, you come out on opposite sides. You use this level 2 when they're far away from you at an angle, and you use this version when they're directly below you. This is very good after Volleyball Fist, Enders, and when you're in the corner. So if you end a combo with something like this, you can do this and you'll get all the hits. The other interesting thing about Kikoho here is you actually take less health damage when you're in Sparking. When you're in Sparking, you take about 5% instead of 10. The same applies when you're in Limit Break. You can see we have no allies here. We're in Limit Break. Take about 5% as well. And if we're in Sparking and Limit Break, this does no damage to us. Yet another reason to put Tien at the back and just bet on him sometimes. You have to do it. So then we have Shin Kikoho, the big cousin to Kikoho. It's about the same. It does 10% damage to you. It's one of the most damaging level 3s in the game, other than Spirit Bomb, and I think Baby's Monkey Super does more damage for some reason. This is another one that has the same rules about health spending in Sparking and Limit Break, where it takes less. You get good Oki off of this, even mid-screen. You can always get an overhead or a low. Get a safe jump, it kind of puts you at this good range for that. You can also do an early IID and go for a command grab. It's a pretty tricky looking thing. You can go for a chop, you can go for low, you can go for a safe jump. You get good Oki off of this even mid-screen. In the corner it gets a little bit better, but not by much. This move also has follow-ups if you hit the button additional times. And you can dump all your meter on this if you like. As you can see, you do quite a bit of damage to yourself doing these extra follow-ups. But this is heavily mitigated by Sparking or Limit Break, or both. Completely mitigated by both. But you can pump out quite a bit of damage doing this, and it turns a lot of stray hits into death combos if you have enough meter. It's one of the biggest strengths of this character. The other interesting thing about this level 3 is it takes you completely off of the screen. So this can be very useful against Raw Kaioken, for example, where he has a lot of follow-ups and he can kind of mix you up. But Tien, he disappears off the screen, he always hits where you are, it doesn't matter. There's no amount of invincibility that a lot of things have that can avoid this completely. It's one of the reasons you play the character, for sure, for sure. And then we have Chaozu, the Farewell Tien Super. You only get this once a match because Chaozu blows up. It's another one of the most damaging level 3s in the game. It does about 2600 when you hit with this at max scaling. Gives you a really good mix-up. You can cross up, you can stay same side. This pulls them out of the corner as well. You can see here you can get over the other side pretty quickly. And in the corner here it pulls them out. Of course you lose access to the Chaozu assist, but it doesn't really matter if you do because you can get this and just kill somebody. It hurts a lot. One of the other interesting things about this move is it will track people who are in the air. So an interesting strategy you can have with this is if your opponent is playing really passively and they're just chilling out in the air, we'll set the Tien dummy to just do it here. If they've already used their air option, it's very difficult to avoid this move. It has incredibly fast startup. It's a true command grab, so you can't block it. And even special movement options make it very difficult to get out of. Now, if you do it beforehand, you're good. But if you try to do it after he starts, you get got. And of course, this leads to the same Oki situation, and it does a ton of damage. Very, very powerful technique to apply if your opponent is playing really passively and they have no resources. It can be used to turn the tide of a game that's maybe not necessarily going your way. Now keep in mind, you cannot bring back Chaozu with the Dragon Balls because he's already been wished back once. So if he dies and you get the Dragon Balls, you cannot bring him back, so keep that in mind. So let's talk general strategy with Tien. When you're at the full screen here, we're going to break it down into sections. We're going to do full screen, mid-screen, and point blank. Now, when you're at the full screen here, your only real options are Keyblast, Dodon Ray, and parrying things with your Volleyball Fist with that guard point. This is probably Tien's least effective range. He has very limited ability to hit people who are up at an angle from him, and some of the better characters in the game have things that cover that exact angle, and you can try to snipe them with a jumping Dodon Ray, but it's quite hard, and it's quite risky, because if you whiff, they can just super dash and punish you. Playing at this range, your basic ability, or your basic idea, is to want to move in, and one of the best ways to do that is to use your medium Volleyball Fist. Now, this move travels like 99% screen, so you can barely clip people who are full screen with this if they're big enough. And if you parry and assist, you can really move in quickly and do some pretty good damage to them. And if not, even if they are able to block this, you still get in, you're -5. It's a lot better situation than being full screen, getting shot and hit with giant normals. And if they're playing really, really passively, they're just jumping up back, they're just hanging out, waiting for you to do something, you can try a Chaozu call and move in because of that. It's pretty risky though. Chaozu has a lot of startup at 44 frames. You're generally a lot better off using your Keyblast to try and snipe a beam, or a Dodon Ray to try and beat a Keyblast, or just parrying things and getting in. One of the most common strategies in this game is to dash behind a beam assist. Tien can blow this up hard with the Volleyball Fist parry, in addition to a low attack that you can barely see behind the beam. This leads to a full combo, knockdown, setup, all that good stuff. And if your opponent really isn't careful, you might be able to get a happy birthday. And then, oh buddy, Tien has some of the best happy birthday combos in the game. They're incredibly consistent, they're very easy, and you always kill the assist character, leaving the point character in a guess for character situation, which is incredibly powerful. Alright, let's talk about the mid-range. This is where Tien really starts to shine. With his great medium buttons, It's good 5H into 5S to try and bait people into hitting buttons and counter hitting them, for daring to take a turn when Tien is negative. To even just light Volleyball Fist at this range is incredibly effective. It's safe, it's fast, it's a low, it can lead into full combos. You're still going to struggle with people jumping and being in the air here. You can try and go for Dodon Ray, but it's really close and it's going to be really easy to punish if you miss. Your better option is to try and air-to-air them with either Jump Medium to drag them to the ground, or Jump Light to drag them to the ground. It's a little bit risky, but going for medium Volleyball Fist here at this range against people with the bigger buttons who are going to try to take a turn, someone like Z Broly or Super Broly who have bigger buttons, and they try to take a turn at this range, you can try and go for medium Volleyball Fist to parry their normals. Let's see if Cell can do it here. Yeah, like that. And you can get a combo off of that and punish them for trying to take their turn. And now, the close range game. Tien's close range game is pretty good. He's got his fast jab, he's got his fast low, he's got a decent auto combo. His IAD game is really scary because, again, we have the multiple overheads from Volleyball Fist. You can get 3 overheads, which not a lot of characters can do. You can fake go low. You can fake go for command grab if you have meter. There's the fake low. Fake into overhead. Fake into the double overhead. Fake into command grab. It's really scary to contest Tien here because he can get a medium starter and murder you. You get your opponent to mash, they get antsy, you get a medium starter, big damage, party time. Get to 300 right there, almost 54. You're still going to have the Tien problem, however, of people in the air above you. However, at this range, you just hold up and you hit jab. The upwards hitbox on this move is incredibly good. Even a regular jump can almost catch people at super jump height. And of course, super jump into it covers a huge area of the screen. It's incredibly active. You can easily hit confirm it because it has multiple hits. You can get a full combo. You have a lot of safe outs with Tien at the end of block strings. You can do 5S, that's -5. You can do the light Volleyball Fist, which is -5. You can Dodon Ray, which is -5. Makes it really good to try and take your turn and just kind of end your pressure safely, back off, go back to neutral, see what you can accomplish from there. At very close range, when your opponent isn't in the corner, you have this really good cross-up with the jump medium, which even at point-blank range can be quite effective. And given that it's all mediums, you get pretty good damage for a jump in. Tien's stagger game is also quite good because of all of his very safe normals. It's 5L, 5LL, it's 5M, it's Keyblast, all safe, all have cancel options that can blow people up for trying to mash. You can, if you've conditioned your opponent to mash here, because you've hit them with the command grab a few times, and they're mashing out of your Dragon Rush, what you can start doing is medium Volleyball Fist. And there it gives them just, because if you do the light Volleyball Fist here, that's actually a block string. So you do the medium one here to leave just enough of a gap so they get frame trapped. Which can lead to some pretty good damage. If they're trying to jump out here, they're trying to hold up out of your pressure, and you think they're going to just be holding up, you can light Volleyball Fist and catch them jumping. You have to be careful of trying to 2H people here, again, because of its limited cancel options, deceptively poor range. the fact that it puts you in the air. I hate this button. What? Yeah, I hate this button. I really hate this button. So, with all that said, I like this character a lot. I think he's quite strong. I think he should be in the anchor position on just about every team he's on. He's an okay point character. He can do some stuff with assists. He has kind of traditional point character things where he gets you to block his special move, which leaves him in the air. You use an assist, and you set up a mix-up off of that. But other characters do it better, and well, that's really it. Other characters can do it better, and he's much better when he has a lot of meter, so that kind of limits his use as a point character. He also has really great assists, which is something you want to take advantage of if you can. So you want him at least second. And the reason I don't think he's quite as good second is, again, just because there's characters that do better second than he does, and he just gets such a benefit from being in Limit Break and from being in Sparking compared to other characters with the reduced health costs, that I think it's really just not worth it to put him anywhere else. His ability to solo mix you up is another great reason to have him as your last character, with his command grab, his fast lows, his massive damage output, even off of light starters. Good mix-up off level 3, so he doesn't really need assists to set up mix-ups quite as much. He plays really good at the mid-range. Which doesn't really have anything to do with being an anchor, but it's just a strong point of the character. And that's about all I have to say about Tien, so we'll just go through some combo examples now.
Get out of the way. You here shall be destroyed.